Okay.
Well, hello, Corey. I'm Jennifer Hillmer. For those of you who don't know me, I am a retirement living consultant with CHARTWELL Emerald Hills. I've got Corey McEwen here from MaxWell Devonshire Realty.
Hey, everyone.
He's agreed to let me pick his brain a little bit because we've met with some folks, or we've spoken with some people out in the community that have some concerns, and real estate has definitely changed in light of COVID-19 and some of our new realities. So welcome, Corey. Before we begin and I start giving you some questions, could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, for sure. Well, I grew up, I live in Sherwood Park, grew up here, and I absolutely love Sherwood Park. I've been a real estate agent for about 10 years now in the area. And so I mainly cover Sherwood Park, obviously, but also the surrounding areas, do quite a lot of business in Edmonton, some in Fort Saskatchewan, and obviously the acreages around as well. So yeah, I love what I do, and one of the top producers in the industry. But in the end, it's so much about caring for people and just helping them out and serving them.
So I'll give a little bit of background. Corey and I have been working together for over a year now.
Yeah.
And you've been instrumental in helping a lot of the people that have moved into CHARTWELL Emerald Hills sell their house. So really grateful to you. You've been an exceptional support system for us. So we appreciate that tremendously.
Mm-hmm.
So before we get talking about the market and all the good stuff and what's really happening out there, can you share with us a little bit about what realtors and you specifically are doing? Again, in light of COVID-19, there's a lot of fear, and we want to make sure that we're doing things safely. So what's new for you in terms of the safety piece around selling and listing homes?
Well, when all the chaos started to hit here, which was, I believe, around March 3rd, everything started to change. So first, the real estate board for Edmonton was really concerned about it, and a lot of the realtors were speaking up, and they were like, we need to have safety for our clients and for ourselves. So one of the very first things they did, which impacted the industry, was they just shut down all the open houses. So no longer can we do open houses on weekends and just let the public into a home. So that was one of the things, and I'm assuming that will continue on through the summer.
Right.
And most recently, what they did was they started live video open homes. So a realtor could be in a home, do a live presentation in a home, and interact with people through social media, Facebook Live, and whatnot. It's
Right.
kind of in the beginner stages, but that's one of the marketing ways. And there's other ones too, and I've been doing it for years, video marketing and things like that. So a lot of it hasn't changed for me personally, because I'm always trying to be ahead of the curve. But from a safety standpoint, some of the things is I pack rubber gloves. So that's one example where we don't want any clients touching anything in the homes. We want to keep their hands in their pockets, or at least have rubber gloves. Wearing masks is quite common as well. But the number one thing we see is hand sanitizer throughout the homes. Many of my sellers, they will have some themselves, which they'll leave by the front doors. And so, and everyone who's walking through the homes, they're very courteous. They're respectful. They understand that we don't want to be the cause to spreading this. And we are an essential service where we do need to buy and sell homes. And so everyone's being very respectful in that manner.
Great.
Yeah.
And what about, is there screening, or if I phone you, can I just walk through?
So let's say someone calls me on one of my listings and they don't have a realtor representing them. So those are some of the first questions I ask. So I say, and we're required to do this, every realtor. So one of the questions would be, have you traveled in the last 2 weeks internationally? I like to even go further and say, have you traveled outside of Alberta? And so I'll ask that. I'll also ask if anyone has been sick in the home. I'll find out if anyone's been tested for COVID, from day one. I'll even ask about who wants to come see the home, and are the primary people, like maybe if it's a family, is it possible to leave the kids behind and just have the primary people who are purchasing come through the home rather than say 5 or 6 people, right? So trying to limit it in that regards.
That's great. That sounds like some of the similar precautions we're taking here in our home as well. So let's get to the good stuff. What's happening in the market? I know April it sounds like it was challenging, but we're moving into May.
Well, whenever you watch the news, like you can always find that the sky is falling kind of analogy, and there's no home sales and what's going on, right? But in reality, like when you compare it, from say 2019, there hasn't been a whole lot of change. Like there was definitely a blip where there was a lot of pauses, and I did lose a lot of buyers in early March, but then I did pick up some in later March, which have already bought in April and May. So wow. Just for some stats, I pulled some off this morning. And so let's just go with the price range of $350,000 to $450,000. Okay, that's very common in Sherwood Park. A lot of those 1970 through 1990 homes. And right now there's about 199 homes for sale. Okay, so I'm not talking about condos or acreages, just kind of that average home. And so there's 199 for sale. And actually, that's all of Sherwood Park. And in that price range, there's 73 for sale. Now, in April of this past year, of 2020, we saw 19 homes sell. So about 1 every 2 days. Okay. And in March, we saw actually more, which was 35. Okay, so, but if you compare March of 2019 to the 35 that sold in 2020, there was only 25 homes that sold in 2019. So there was actually more that sold this March than there was last March.
That's surprising.
Yeah, and the best, like talking non-COVID, typically the highest months that sell would be May and June, and then we start to see it slide down in the summertime because our summers are short. But I'm expecting that this summer will be different, that we will see more homes selling, almost like the spring market will kind of be bumped to the summer, is what I'm thinking and expecting for the future here. But in May right now, we're almost at 1 home a day, which works out to a fairly balanced market, because typically we see a lot more homes for sale right now. And because of COVID, there's not as much selection. So you still have buyers who need to purchase, but they don't have as much choice. So yeah, homes are still selling.
Awesome.
It's slower, but but things are still moving if they're priced right.
That's terrific. So well, that's really reassuring, because we do have, I know that I've spoken with some folks specifically that are concerned about moving and listing their house for sale right now, because the perception, of course, listening to the media is like the sky is falling. So it's reassuring to hear what's actually happening in the market is more positive than that. And I think we didn't talk about this on our preparations, but they've changed some of the guidelines for mortgages, have they not? Is that the stress test?
Yeah, it's actually gotten better for buyers. Buyers can be pre-approved for more money. Right. So I've seen that, that decrease back in December, January, February. And so that did help, stimulate some buyers. Having said that, right now, some of the insurers are a little bit more picky. So your CMHC or your Genworth, so people who can't, who don't have 20% saved, they'll have a national insurer on their mortgage, and they've gotten a little bit more picky as well lately. So so that's slowed a few, which is okay. It just means that some people might have to save a bit more, or just make sure that their debt ratios are decent. But yeah, overall, if a good mortgage broker goes a long ways with buyers.
And you're well connected there. You can help the new buyer out.
Absolutely. Yeah. I've got, whether it's renovators or declutterers or home stagers, mortgage brokers, lawyers, all that stuff. I've got referral connections all over for those people.
Good. Okay. And then in terms of, we talked a little bit earlier about your new ways of marketing in COVID-19 world.
Yeah.
It's a little different than traditional real estate transactions.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
So again, I've been doing this for years, but now other realtors are starting to do it. But the old way of doing it is newspaper advertisements in a lot of way. But the number one way to find a home is online. Realtor.ca is so common. But I've been doing other things like special YouTube videos where, as an example, if someone calls me, I can have a 3-minute video of myself walking through a home, talking about all the special features, so they don't have to try and read it in a little paragraph, but they have me expressing all the different things that you may not even know when you're walking through a home, right? And so I can help pre-sell it, and they're just watching a video, whether it's on their laptop or on their cell phone, and I can text it to them and send it that way. And actually, one I won't say their name, but from Chartwell, someone who's living there now, they had an acreage to sell. And whenever I see them, they're like, Corey, that video was so amazing. And I am positive.
That was our first residents that moved in November. Yes,
that's right. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And they loved that video so much. And like, I've got another acreage right now near Northern Bear Golf Course. And I've had 3 calls on it in the last, let's say the last week. And so every time someone calls me, I say, did you watch the video? Have you walked through it on your TV screen yet? And they're like, oh yes, we saw it. And now we're even more excited to see it. And so with having that video, it removes a lot of the people who are like, oh, maybe the kitchen isn't big enough, or oh, I don't like this or that. It helps eliminate those who aren't interested, and it gets those who are still interested more excited. And
Right.
So their first showing is almost like their second showing. So that's my favorite way of advertising. And I always bring my personality and a little bit of comic relief in there too,
Right.
to keep people entertained, which you know fairly well about, Jennifer.
I do. I'm familiar. Yes. Okay, and then I think just a last question before we wrap it up here. So if somebody's still not sure, is this a good time to sell my house? Should I do it now? Or should I wait?
Okay, so we don't know the future, first of all. So we don't know if it's going to get better or worse. From a economical standpoint, I really don't think we're going to see an increase in home sales, in home values. Right. So I think from a perspective of, well, I'm going to wait 5 years and wait for the market to swing. You're in a position, if you're thinking of moving into Chartwell, it's more about lifestyle at this point. And so if you're sitting on the fence, number one thing to do is talk to a professional realtor, whether it's myself or maybe someone you're already connected with. Really talk to them, find out what's happening in your specific area. That's first and foremost. Secondly, there's ways of advertising homes even without realtor.ca. I actually went through this one sale where I did an exclusive listing. So the people weren't necessarily ready to sell the home, but I got an exclusive listing agreement so I could at least put a sign on the lawn, do a couple Facebook ads. They needed a couple months to declutter still, right? Okay. And so they had to go through that process. But I said, let's not lose those next 2 months. Let me start to do some advertising for you. And so through it, I was able to collect names of buyers. and then we spent one weekend of just showing that home. And most of those buyers didn't have realtors at the time, and we ended up selling it for like $2,000 below list, which
Wow.
was phenomenal.
Yeah.
And so if you're thinking about price and that's what's stopping you, move forward on that. Okay. Because things could get worse. Are things going to get better? I think there will be more sales on a positive note, but I'm not seeing a huge price jump happening anytime soon from when you look at economics. We got a lot to recover with, but yeah, just taking that first step is so important. And I'm the kind of guy where I am very transparent, very, very honest in the way of wanting to serve my clients. And if it's not the right time to sell, I'll have that discussion. Sometimes it's a price thing where if they need certain money out of the home to pay the mortgage off, and the money's not there, I talk about, well, have you thought about renting it, or have you thought about staying in your home longer? Because last thing I want to do is put people into financial troubles, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Fair
And
enough.
yeah, so long story short, if you're hesitant or sitting on the fence, definitely get some advice and wisdom regarding your special circumstances, and then we can say yes or no from there.
Yeah, that makes sense. And you can help somebody to, I mean, we're both quite well connected in terms of a lot of the people that are choosing Chartwell specifically are downsizing, right? So
Yeah.
really don't want that to be a deterrent either, because we can definitely support them through that downsizing piece.
Yeah, and like even with the past Chartwell clients that I've worked with, and can't wait to visit again sometime soon when I'm allowed.
I hope.
Yeah, like even with them, just being able to give them practical tips of what to do to alleviate the stress, really.
Yeah.
Because decluttering is the number one thing to help with preparing for homes. Help you to get those professional photos looking fantastic, and sometimes it's just a matter of like, well, what do I do with these things? And so I'll be like, okay, you got quite a lot, so let's throw it into one bedroom, and you don't have to worry about it anymore. Just fill this room up as if it's like a moving box to your next
Right.
place. And yeah, there's just a lot of things to alleviate that stress, and that's where I really look to help out, especially the Chartwell clients.
Thank you. We appreciate that.
Absolutely.
I think we got everything. Do you have any more
Yeah.
things we should touch on? Oh, I guess if somebody wanted to connect with you about
Absolutely.
maybe whether it's the right time to sell their house, how do they reach you?
Yeah, well, my phone number, I always keep my cell phone near me, 780-850-4004. And you can call me. I usually pick up unless I'm doing a meeting like this or if I'm driving. But I always call back within an hour. Or you can text me at that number. Or if you want to even email, it's Corey, Corey, at Corey McEwen, CoreyMcewen.com. And I'd be happy to help you out further.
Excellent. Thank you so much for your time today, Corey, and hopefully our listeners have found some value in this piece today.
Yeah. And thank you for having me, Jennifer. It's always
Absolutely.
fun to be able to do this and to just, continue to serve people. And if you're watching, I hope to meet you sometime soon.
Soon. Thank
All
you.
right. You're welcome. Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.